stop looking at it as if you are a victim and someone who is a creature of circumstance, meaning that the world is having an effect on you, and you will start looking at like, no, I'm someone who is actually a creator of my own reality, and I'm having an effect on my world. So if I don't like what I'm seeing in my outer reality, there's no one who is in a position that can change this better than I can right now. No one.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And here's the tough pill to swallow, right? But once you come to this truth, it will set you free, because what do people say? It is the truth that will set you free. Right?
Yeah.
So the truth shall set you free, and the truth is that you are the one who has created your reality. Now, does that mean that the reason for why you have what you have is your fault? No. It might not be your fault. It might be somebody else's fault. It might be the fault of your parents. It might be the fault of your government. It might be the fault of your town, your community, wherever you are. It might be the fault of your environment and everything that is something that was outside of your control. It might not be your fault, which is fine. It could be somebody else's fault. But one thing that it isn't is it's not somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to change your own life. And as soon as you accept this fact, where it could be somebody else's fault, but it's your responsibility, you no longer give your power away.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
True.
We're all born with power that exists within, right? So you don't want to be giving your power away. You want to be unlocking the power within. And that power within, only you can reclaim that once you decide that you're going to take responsibility for your life.
Yeah, that's my usual everyday dress. That's how I dress every day. Every single day. Pajamas,
like sportswear, everything.
That's my usual dress. With a suit and waistcoat and top, tie clips and collar pin, all that, and pocket watch as well.
I remember when I was doing door-to-door sales, that was the same situation for me. Every day, suit from morning 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. Just became the normal reality. So I somewhat miss those the days of wearing suits, but I'm quite happy in my cozy jumper now as well. With where we're
comfortable.
Yeah, I prefer wearing what makes me most comfortable as opposed to.
That makes sense.
But if there was a suit that was super comfortable, because I've worn some really nice suits, then I would definitely like to wear that. But definitely looking the part, man, looking very businessy. Is the work matching that?
Not now, unfortunately. I'll try to match it. It depends on me how I work. I'll become.
Yeah, this is it, man. This is it. So you're looking the part, and now it's just about doing the part.
Yes.
Awesome. So for yourself specifically, since it's just yourself right now on the call, I'm sure the people will join later on. In terms of what your main goals are right now, I know you want to be able to have your own online business. I know you want to be able to take that freedom back more than anything, and start being able to go full time. So with the current position that you're in, I do think that like I was saying on the call, you working on your mindset, you working on your skills is going to be the number one way where we're going to be able to help you start seeing some results. So I guess my first question for you would just be on, in terms of your personal experience, interest, when I talk about business and I talk about entrepreneurship, what does that mean for you?
Entrepreneurship business for me, it means to be independent and be free from working for anyone and be 100% for yourself, where you are able to support your family and support yourself. That requires some sacrifice to become that level. So for me.
Yes, I like that. I really like that definition, to be fair, because you could have said just it's all about freedom, it's about making money. But what you talked about, which is really important, is it's about being willing to make that sacrifice.
Yes.
Because the actual definition of entrepreneurship, when you look at it, is somebody who's willing to take on financial risk.
Yes.
Right. So if you're ever going to be taking on financial risk, then especially if to get that money initially, you had to trade your time for money, then you're not just risking your money, you're actually also risking your time simultaneously, because that was time that you invest. All money that people make is one form of that currency is through time. So the thing is, I know that you're willing to make that sacrifice, which is great. But aside from the sacrifice of the financial, what else do you feel like you would have to sacrifice when becoming an entrepreneur?
For my time, I have to stop self-sabotaging. I have an issue sometimes. So I have to learn that to become more better in just doing things without quitting too much.
You quit quite often, you mean?
What?
Did you say you quit? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I sometimes quit because I keep self-sabotaging. It happens a lot of times. I've noticed that. So that's my biggest issue. Self-sabotaging is the biggest issue I have, unfortunately.
Okay.
And that's what holds me back.
Okay. So when you self-sabotage, what is usually the way that you self-sabotage? Like, how do you self-sabotage?
For example, if I begin into a course and I learn something new, I sort of stop. Suddenly, I just stop doing it. It has something, it's because I don't believe in myself. It's because I don't believe that will happen or success will come. That's the issue. It's self-disbelief. That's the right name for him.
I understand exactly what you're saying. So here's the thing that you actually need when it comes to being able to have the belief that can help you get results in whatever opportunity that you're in, is that there's really two, I would say three, in fact. At first, I thought there was only two, but I would say three. So the reason I say three is because if you only have the two, then one of them is you're either born with it or not. It's not like a thing that you can develop. But if there's three, then you know that you can develop it, right? So the number one belief that you have to have is that the actual opportunity that you are going to step into, where you may be learning from this course, this mentor, whatever opportunity you step into, you have to have the belief in that, number one. If you don't believe in the opportunity, you could have all the self-belief in the world, but you're never going to pour that energy into your opportunity. So number one is you have to have solid belief in that. Number two is that you got to have solid belief in yourself. I kind of gave that away when I was saying you could have self-belief all in yourself. So having so much self-belief in yourself that it's almost like no matter what opportunity it is, you will make it work, because you're the type of person who just figures things out, solves problems, and when pressure hits, like, you actually keep going rather than quitting like most people do. So you have self-belief because you believe that you're a winner. Winners never quit and quitters never win. You don't quit. If you have that kind of self-belief, then you've got really good self-belief, right? Now, the third thing is one thing that people don't really talk about, and that is the belief in the actual machine, the environment that can help cultivate you. Because the truth is that when you're first getting started out, like, you won't have that self-belief. You won't have the skills. You won't have the competence, the ability. You won't have those things. So if you also simultaneously have the machine, the vehicle, the environment that can build you as that person that's embarking on the opportunity, now you know that, oh, wow, it doesn't matter. Even if I don't have self-belief right now, as long as I believe in this and I believe that I'm coachable enough, eventually I'm going to become the type of person who will make this work. So what it almost sounds like is that for yourself, I'd actually say that you've got good belief in your opportunity. You're like, you know what? This thing is real. This thing is legit. I can take this all the way. This is awesome. I think you have a level of self-belief in yourself. I think you give yourself a little bit too much criticism there. I think you actually do believe in yourself enough to show up and, actually come on time, enough to start the courses, enough to present yourself nicely, enough to wake up every single day. You got enough self-belief there. But the thing that you haven't necessarily had that self-belief in is the machine that can build you to become the person who's actually going to be able to get the maximum from your opportunity.
Makes sense.
You got it, right?
It makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yes. And this is what takes it from just being a case where it's like, damn, there's maybe like 1 in 100 people who have that level of self-belief, but maybe like 9 out of 10 people start off with no self-belief, but when you put them in the machine, now they got self-belief, right? And so this is the same mindset that the factory owners from 100 years ago, whenever it was that they set up the initial education system, this is the same mindset that they had, where they were like, oh, sometimes we're bringing in people who they believe in our system, of which they can work 9 to 5, get a paycheck at the end, and they can actually operate the machines. But they realized that most people didn't have that belief. So what they needed to do is they needed to put them through this education system. They needed to put them through school. They needed to put them through university. And by the end of it, once they went through that machine, now they've got belief as the employee that we can do this. We've got a degree to prove it. So the same thing has to occur with entrepreneurship, where you go through the entrepreneurship machine, the entrepreneurship system that can build you into becoming that person who becomes the one that has that self-belief now, that as an entrepreneur, like, you've got your entrepreneur's degree almost, but you don't get the entrepreneur's degree from going to university. Can't come. Same way I was explaining it to somebody earlier on before. You can't expect that you want to learn martial arts, you want to learn kung fu, you want to learn how to fight. You can't expect to sit down, read a book, and go to university, get a degree on kung fu, and now, like, you're going to be able to go and become a martial artist. It doesn't work like that. You can know the theory, but you got to be able to know kung fu. You got to be able to know how to practice. And entrepreneurship is very similar to kung fu, because it's not one of these things where you can just have knowledge about it and now you're going to get results. It's one of these things where you actually have to do the disciplines. From doing the disciplines, that is what builds you in that machine. And now you can be prepared to become the person who's ready for the actual specific opportunity.
Makes a lot of sense.
Simple, right?
Work. It's very simple.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah. So
it's very easy.
It's not necessarily easy, it's simple. Okay, there's a difference between the two. Because although it's easy to show up and do the daily disciplines, it's also very easy not to do those things. So if it's easy not to do it, then you'll probably pick that route because it's just as easy as doing it. Most people are programmed to be lazy. Whereas if you're looking at yourself and you're seeing that, you know what, I didn't do anything today, that made me feel worse about myself. I feel somewhat disgusted. I didn't make any movement forwards. If you have that mindset, then you will be more likely to stay disciplined. But if you don't have that mindset, then you'll be fine with just being like, yeah, come back from work and I'm just going to go turn on television, spend time with my kids, spend time with my family, and then by the end of the night, we'll just lie down, relax, eat some food, and then we'll go back to work the next morning into the job. And we'll just rinse and repeat that cycle.
Mhm.
Now, it doesn't have to change too much from that. The only change that has to occur is like you got to be willing to either, if you don't have time in the day and you don't want to give up any of the things that you're already doing, either you do things whilst doing other things in the day. So one of the things that I started off doing when I was first getting started out entrepreneurship was like, I knew that I had to educate myself through reading like some foundational books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, like, things like one that I'm listening to right now, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Like there were some books that I just had to absorb and listen to because they were foundational in me being able to like just understand the language and terminology of entrepreneurship and business. Now I didn't have time in the day to do that. So I was like, when am I going to do this? I've only got 24 hours all allocated. When can I do it? And I basically discovered like, hang on a second, every single day when I'm going to the toilet every single morning, I'm spending about 30, 40 minutes in the toilet scrolling, doing nothing. And I'm doing that every day because I go to the toilet like 2-3 times a day. And I quickly realized that if I just, instead of scrolling on social media, not actually doing this learning and education, I would be able to instead replace that with reading the books. And in 1 year, I went through 100 books just by applying that principle. So you can see that it's like your problem isn't time, it's what you're doing with your time.
My choices that are the problem.
What's that?
It's my choices that are the problem. It's what I choose to do. So I have to choose wisely what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got another example, which is like some people say, oh, but I don't want to do sales. I don't want to go and speak to people. Okay, cool. You're saying that you don't want to speak to people, but every single day I see you socializing and speaking to people. It's just that when you're currently socializing, the only difference between what you're doing and what can actually be a business activity is that you're speaking to people that you know. And the people who know you. That's the big difference. If you was to be willing to every single day go and enter into a conversation, make a new connection with a person who you don't know, that opens up a new world where you have the potential to be rejected, or you have the potential to be not accepted into that person's world, but you also have the potential to bring in somebody who could become a partner, a client, and that changes the whole game. But if you're stuck in the bubble and it's like, no, I'm just going to go to work, after work, I'm going to come home, speak to my family, and that's it. You're still connections, but it's the choice again, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we cannot choose to do the thing or wrong thing. It depends on.
Yeah, like you said, it's a choice. So freedom is a choice. And if freedom is a choice, slavery is a choice. I agree with Kanye West.
That's true. That's correct.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a slave, so I have to choose to be free, like a free bird.
Exactly. And that real freedom comes from when you start taking responsibility for your actions. Now, what you were describing before as to the reason for why right now, like you find it difficult in order to step into entrepreneurship fully and like actually give it what it requires in terms of the inputs. The main reason you find it difficult is because you have a fear, right? And that fear is fear. It's a fear of futility, meaning that you're afraid that you're going to put in all this effort, but you're not going to get anything back.
That's exactly how I feel. A lot of times. Exactly.
And I get it. And the reason for why you have that fear is because you don't have the belief in all three of these areas.
Yes. Makes sense.
If you don't have that belief, then the fear appears. And it's a case where it's like belief is one thing that can help, but you got to look at it like belief will raise yourself. It will help you to rise up, but fear will weigh you down as an anchor. So no matter how strong the wings are, that can help you to fly, which is what freedom is about. It's the ability to fly, right? No matter how strong the wings are, if the anchor is too heavy, which is that fear, there's no amount of effort that you can put into flapping the wings that is going to help you to actually start raising up in terms of your level. So it's about doing both. It's about not only strengthening the wings, which is the belief, it's also being able to let go of that anchor. And naturally, you'll be like, oh, I can fly. This whole time, my wings were strong enough. The problem was the anchor. And to let go of that anchor, again, that is a choice. But most people find it difficult to do that because like, I'm kind of used to the anchor now. And it keeps me grounded. It keeps me, keeps me safe. Everyone else has got an anchor. If I was to let go of mine, then who would I become then? There's like this fear of the unknown is the best way to put it.
Yes. Yeah. They feel unknown.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Exactly. So when you're looking at this fear of responsibility, this fear of futility, and actually putting in that work, the thing that will really help you to cultivate a lot more self-belief is understanding the principles as to what will guarantee you results. Because the problem for yourself right now is it's like you're looking at the opportunity and you're like, you know what? It's great. I know that 1% of people succeed if they put in the hard work and everything like that. But how do I know that I can become one of that 1% of people with certainty? That's the question.
If I learn from them, if I speak to them, become their friend, or network with them, like networking, you become partners. That's how you become one of them. If you're around them, you become one of them. The time.
Proximity.
Yeah.
Proximity. Simple. Because whenever you change your environment, that's what changes your life.
Yes.
And you may not necessarily have physical proximity to the people like myself. Like right now, you don't have physical proximity to me. You have digital proximity to me.
Yes.
It's still pretty powerful, right?
It's still powerful. It's kind of the same, just through a screen, not through physical sense.
Yes. So I can't. Now, here's the thing. Physical proximity is definitely like the highest level of proximity. Yes. There's an energy that you can start to feel a lot stronger that the technology can't exactly replicate when I'm transferring this energy to you. But there's something that shifts when you're in the room with a person. But this is still like a room. What does it mean? How are we?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are we doing?
Good, alhamdulillah. I'm just going to listen in for now.
That's cool. So me and Ali just talking a little bit about him overcoming some of the fears and starting to help him to guarantee his success. Because I think it's a little bit similar to one of the fears you yourself have had, Yasmin, as well. This fear of utility. Sorry, not utility, futility. Fear of responsibility. Feeling like you're going to put in all this effort for no reward. Right? So the thing that we were saying here is, well, the solution is to start understanding more logically, like what will guarantee the success. And one of the things that Ali was just saying here is that if you become that person who has success that is guaranteed for them, you can become that person through proximity. And we were saying how you can have physical proximity to a person, but digital proximity is also really good. And I think, Yasmin, you're an example of someone who has had quite a bit of digital proximity to myself, and it's shifted who you've become in that process without even having so much of the physical proximity. We've only met twice in person, and they were short, but the digital proximity was where she's had more of the exposure in terms of consistency. So digital proximity is great. And there's another thing which is to be considered when it comes to going through your transformation to becoming that person, is that you can have digital proximity or you can have physical proximity. But what if that person who you're surrounded with isn't actually the one that has the result? It's kind of like what you were saying before, that you want to have the proximity to people who have the results that you personally want yourself. Mm-hmm. So when you have this digital proximity, you can aim all the way to have digital proximity with people who are like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Robert Kiyosaki, like the guys who are multi-billionaires, that type of thing. But the difference when you have digital proximity with them is, number one, the amount of time that they can personally give in terms of their presence, right? So they may be able to give presence, but that presence is diluted among a lot of people. So one of the best things that you can do, I remember like one of the best things I did for my growth wasn't necessarily investing into 10,000 pounds and having mentorship from someone who was a billionaire. That was great, right? But I didn't get as much time and I didn't get as much concentrated presence. Presence that I did get that was concentrated was great, totally worth it. Where I got the most amount of transformation in terms of my journey was actually getting digital proximity, not with somebody who was a billionaire, but somebody who was a six-figure business owner. Because I was somebody who I'd not made my first sales online. And to go from 0 to 6 figures, every single entrepreneur will agree with this, is the hardest move that happens within entrepreneurship, which is why most people do not even reach that first level of financial freedom or step into that level of success. So if you're learning from somebody who has been able to do the impossible, going from 0 to 6 figures, there's so much that you can absorb from that person. Plus, there's a lot more of those people who have availability and are actually willing to share and are willing to help. Whereas the people who are at the higher levels, like, they're not as willing to share with the same amount of people because they're in more demand, right? So the biggest cheat code that I had was like actually becoming friends with somebody who's a six-figure business owner. And every single day, you know what I did? I just literally went into Discord. I knew he was going to be there because he said he was going to be there every single day. And when I'd go in, it would just be me, him, and like 2-3 other people. Sometimes it would just be me and him, and we'd be having conversations of 3-4 hours. And I didn't even need to say things sometimes. He would just speak for hours and I'd be listening. But it was an energy that I was absorbing, and I was like, whoa, I feel something about myself. This is having an energetic shift, not just a physical one. Because here's the thing about your success is that 95% of your success is not going to be physical. It's not going to be about the practical work that you do with your hands or what you say with your mouth or anything like that. 95% is going to be the spiritual and the energetic. And it's like, how do you master that? How do you learn that? How do you get that quickly? And the way that you get it is by absorption. You absorb it. It's like water. You're a sponge. You want to absorb that energy, right? And the more and more that you absorb it, the more that it's contagious. And you'll just notice like, wow, I feel different. There's something about me. And it's not motivation. It's not what we're talking about. It's an energetic transfer where you are not just feeling pumped up, but you're actually feeling as though your cells have started to change from being cells that are carrying all of this lack and scarcity and poverty within, to now it's like cells that are healthy, abundant, vibrant, containing love. Because every cell, when you look at it at the quantum level, is actually just full of space, right? It's more space, it's more wave than it is particle and physical things. So when that cell starts to change, and now it's like actually like, whoa, this is holding a different vibration, a different energy. The frequency is elevated. Once that shift has started to happen, naturally, you're going to see that a lot more results will appear. And this isn't just something that is spiritual. This is now scientific. In science, they're showing what happens when you have quantum shifts that occur within yourself as a human being. And it's not just scientific. Like when you go all the way back into history and you see what people have said in terms of religions, these teachers, prophets, everything is being confirmed with what they've been teaching too. Right? So it's truth. Whether you call it science, whether you call it religion, whether you call it spiritual, it's truth that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And when that truth is in your cells and you're holding that, the world will start shifting around you. You will stop looking at it as if you are a victim and someone who is a creature of circumstance, meaning that the world is having an effect on you. And you will start looking at like, no, I'm someone who is actually a creator of my own reality, and I'm having an effect on my world. So if I don't like what I'm seeing in my outer reality, there's no one who is in a position that can change this better than I can right now. No one.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And here's the tough pill to swallow, right? But once you come to this truth, it will set you free, because what do people say? It is the truth that will set you free. Right?
Yeah.
So the truth shall set you free, and the truth is that you are the one who has created your reality. Now, does that mean that the reason for why you have what you have is your fault? No. It might not be your fault. It might be somebody else's fault. It might be the fault of your parents. It might be the fault of your government. It might be the fault of your town, your community, wherever you are. It might be the fault of your environment and everything that is something that was outside of your control. It might not be your fault, which is fine. It could be somebody else's fault. But one thing that it isn't is it's not somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to change your own life. And as soon as you accept this fact, where it could be somebody else's fault, but it's your responsibility, you no longer give your power away.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're all born with power that exists within, right? So you don't want to be giving your power away. You want to be unlocking the power within. And that power within, only you can reclaim that once you decide that you're going to take responsibility for your life. See, most people, they've grown up in systems where the leadership has had power over them.
Yes.
And when you've grown up in a hierarchy where there's power over you, then there's no power that you personally have within, because it's being given away by you. And it might not be your fault that you put in that system, but it's your responsibility to get yourself out of it.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's the necessary work, is about reclaiming that power. Because as soon as you reclaim that power and that sovereignty, now you can become a creator of your own reality. You can go out there and actually influence what's happening. And initially, it's kind of like Neo in the Matrix. When, first of all, Morpheus gives him the pill, he's like, yo, if you take this thing, you ain't going to like what you see. Because what you're going to see is how much this world is actually influenced by your, right? And
yes.
he has to then take responsibility and be like, yeah, you know what? I've got to get my power back so that I can not only set myself free, but then set everybody else free. So it's the same thing. Once you have that awakening, it might be a little bit painful. It might be a little bit like, oh man, I've got this weight of responsibility on my shoulders. I don't want to carry it. I understand that. But over time, the more responsibility you keep on reclaiming, the more power that you have. It's like in Spider-Man, they say that with great power comes great responsibility. The reverse is also true. With great responsibility comes great power. And ultimately, when you're looking at, like in business, ideally, what is it that you want? Some people say that they want to be able to make money. Some people say they want to have the network. Some people say they want to have the influence, the impact. All of these are just different versions of power. Having the power to do whatever you want, having the power to go wherever you want to go, having the power to serve however you want to serve. This is all just different versions of power. But everything on the external is a reflection of the internal. So if you're looking at your life right now and you're thinking, damn, I don't have power in my life right now because I'm being told what to do. I'm being told how to do it. I'm being told when to do it. And I don't get to do what to do when I want to do it. I have no power. If that's the position that you're in right now, again, don't look at the outside and be like, it's the problem of everyone else. It's not my problem. I can't solve it. You're literally giving that power away and showing what exists within. But a wise person will look at it and be like, you know what? I don't like the reality that I have right now. What is it within me that I have given away in terms of this power? Where does it exist? And you become curious. You start looking within for the answers, and you recognize that, oh my God, this whole time I've been saying that, yeah, it's not my fault, which is fine. But I've also been saying it's not my responsibility. And I've been then giving away my power. Now, there's another type of power as well, which is, we've talked about power away. We've talked about power within, but there's also power with. You can, because there's no limit to the power that exists, what the systems want you to believe is that power is scarce.
Yeah. That's exactly how they want us to think.
Yeah. Power doesn't exist within you unless we give it to you. And we're going to give you a limited amount, right? That power is the energy. So if they want you to believe that, by you believing it, you're going to be fueling their dream, not your own dreams. Because it works for them for you to stay in a position of not being empowered, for you to have your power that's been given away. So what we have the ability to do when we come and collaborate is that we have the power to actually give each other power. And that's power with, where I empower you, and through doing so, I'm not going to lose any of my power, because through me sharing mine, it's actually only going to attract more for me. So you're going to gain power, and then after you become powerful, you can come back to me and start giving me some power too.
It's a win-win situation.
Precisely.
Yes.
It's a position where I win, it's a position where you win. And then as we give power with, then we can extend that power more so to our entire communities, our tribes. That's how the power starts to become a lot more contagious, right? So we give power to each other, then we have power with, and now the whole collective has got more power. And this is the key when it comes to the entrepreneurship journey, because ultimately, like, once you reclaim like all of this power and you take the maximum amount of responsibility that you can, you barely even need somebody to guide you, mentor you, coach you, whatever. Because what starts to happen is you become so independent, that word that you were saying before as well, you become so independent that you're able to start becoming resourceful, tapping into the innate resources that exist within, such as your intuition, such as your insights, such as your intelligence. Right? All of these factors that exist within. And the more that you tap into these modalities, these senses that are not like the outside senses that are perceiving what's going on out there. Because that's what they teach you in school, right? You go into school, one of the first things they teach you, you can see, can't you? You've got the eyes. You can hear, you've got the ears. You can smell, you've got the nose. You can speak, you've got the mouth. You can taste. But what they don't tell you is that you also have these senses within.
They never tell you that.
Exactly.
They want you to be a working drone, a slave for society, and pay tax, whatever. They don't want you to be successful.
Exactly.
They need worker drones. That's what Rothschild said. Rothschild said he don't want, free thinkers. He want working. You're right. To work all day long.
Exactly.
That's what they want from us. Reality.
Exactly. And you have to look at what is it that you're doing to fulfill their dream. Because if you know what their dream is, that they don't want you to be powerful, they don't want you to be free. What are you doing that's supporting their dream? And by giving power away, that's the number one thing you're doing to support people's dream. And as soon as you have power within, by unlocking these inner senses of your ability to see internally, your insights, your ability to hear internally, your inspiration, your ability to touch within, your intuition, you can feel within.
Yes.
Your ability to taste within, to have discernment, your ingestion. All of these senses are the senses that will help you to really, truly reclaim that power back, which then allows you to start tapping into your sixth sense. Now you don't just have regular intelligence that most people are given, which is like they can regurgitate information, which is external, getting an outsight of what they can see. But now you also have that ability to have your internal information that's being processed. So when you're now processing this internal information, now you've got a sixth sense that's unlocked. And it's not just intelligence, which is finite intelligence, but now you're tapping into infinite intelligence, divine intelligence. And through that, like, you're able to really become the entrepreneur who's truly successful. Because the way that I look at it, this is also what artists do. You can't exactly teach an artist how to create from a textbook. It's impossible. You can show an artist things that can help them to become inspired, but everything has to be drawn from within.
Yeah.
So this is the thing about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are very likened to artists because they're creative. And the difference between an entrepreneur and an artist is that an entrepreneur is just somebody who is an artist that has learnt certain business principles that helps them to play the game. Things like the skills of sales, marketing, financial, accounting, and like legal, basic level. But I'd say the most basic things that an entrepreneur has to know with being able to get results is they got to learn how to do sales, how to do marketing. And if you can do those two things, that's the majority of what is required in order to start seeing some results and getting to that point of like 0 to 6 figures. Like if you learn sales, you learn marketing, and you got a good offer, good product, you're going to get some good results.
Yes.
Make sense?
That makes sense. Makes sense what you're saying, actually. It makes sense.
Yeah. What do you take from this so far?
I take from so far. You
Yeah.
right from this.
What do you understand from this so far? What are you taking?
I do understand I have to now unlock myself through learning new skill set, speak to new people, do networking, partnership. In that way, I can become successful if I learn from them. And I absorb the energy field. This is a way to become successful.
Yes. To change that environment, right?
Yeah, change the environment, exactly.
When you put an ice cube into the sun, it's just going to melt. So you look at it like that for yourself as well. Money is like water. A lot of people's problems is that they're water, because energy and water are the same as well, right? So,
yeah.
So energy flows, water flows. If your water is too cold, it's going to be frozen. And frozen water doesn't flow. You want cash to flow, right? You want it to be liquid. You don't want it to be frozen. So whilst it's frozen, it needs some heat. So you got to come into an environment where you're going to be set on fire a little bit. And then you'll start flowing more. Now there's the other opposite end of the extreme where the water can become too hot. You don't want it to be too hot either. If it becomes too hot, it's going to evaporate. That's
should be in the middle.
Exactly. You want to be in the middle.
So in the middle.
What is this? What's frozen and what's evaporation? Well, frozen is where you're someone who's got all the ideas in your head. You're someone who maybe you've read the books, maybe you know everything about opportunities. You might have even studied business at university. You could have been working in a job. You know how business works, but you're frozen because you're not actually taking the bold moves, the risks, the action steps of what actually moves you forwards. Then there is the person who is on fire, right? They're like too hot almost. What's happening for these people is that they've got so much pressure that they're putting on themselves, but no knowledge at all, like of understanding how to make things work, that the water is just evaporating. So you've got a really strong burning desire. That's what we call it, a burning desire. But you don't have the knowledge and practical strategies in order to become more liquid and flow. So you want to come into the middle. If you were to look at these two for yourself right now, where would you say you are on the spectrum?
I would say I'm more like frozen. I do have knowledge, but I can't do anything because of liking money, right? That's the issue I have.
So the moment you feel like you're frozen, and you're saying that the reason you're frozen is because that money is there. Now, here's the beautiful part. Your perspective is making you frozen, not your reality. And if you was to change your perspective, you can become liquid. Because currently, you're seeing it like, oh man, this money that I have or that I don't have right now is the reason for why I can't move, is the reason for why I can't take a step forwards. So the mindset of the person in the frozen place has a mindset of I can't.
Yeah.
The mindset of the person who is on fire, is too hot, on the extreme, is saying, I must. This is why sometimes people on fire, they're saying, I must, and what do? They go and get a job. They get a job because they're like, I must make money. If I don't make money right now, like I'm going to die. There's death that's going to occur.
Yes.
So if I don't die, like my kids might die, someone's going to die. I have to go and get a job. So they're going to be on fire but it's not really that liquid. It ends up being that at the end of the month, you're left with more month than you are with money.
Don't get much out of it if it's a job.
Precisely.
Yeah. You don't get your full potential in a job.
Yeah.
That's the problem in a job in these days.
So you might as well be on the I can't. If you're just burning and you end of every single month, you're earning nothing, but this person's doing nothing and earning nothing. Like, what's the difference, right? So
there's not much difference between those two.
So how you can come into the middle where you're no longer just saying I can't, but it's I can and I must. You've got both of these together now, both the mindsets. Yeah. For you to come into this middle, what has to happen is that you got to stop looking at this thing of money as being the excuse and the obstacle and the reason why you can't. And instead, you've got to flip it, do a little bit of judo, flip it, and now use that same reason that you can't change the reality. Use that same reason as the reason for why you must take action, why you must start taking more risks, why you must start making connections. And once you have both I can and I must, because you've turned the excuse into your reason for moving forwards, that's when you've reclaimed that power, and you'll start to see some more liquidity. You'll start to see some more flow of cash.
That's true.
So now the question for yourself is not why can't you succeed? Why must you succeed?
I must. Well, if I don't succeed, I'll stay in the same place for the rest of my life. I'll be stuck then. I don't do anything about it. I'll be stuck in the same loophole. That's the problem. So I must do something about it. So I must do network. I must speak to people, which I don't usually do, but I have to learn to do it if I want to climb the ladder. So that's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's all it is. It's that simple switch.
It's very simple, yes. It's very simple.
Yeah. And as soon as you've now been able to adopt this mindset of I must take action, then everything changes, because now the same thing that was paralyzing you, making you frozen, is the same thing that is going to be your source of fuel.
Yes.
It's the same thing that's going to be driving you forwards and taking that action.
Yeah.
Nothing changes in your reality apart from your perspective, and now your actions change. And as your actions change, what your results are also shifts as well. Instead of being in the same position at the end of every single month and you have more month than you have money, it'll start to shift where now you've got more money than you've got month.
Yeah. Instead of the same over and over and paying bills and don't get enough, it's the same and you never are able to do anything with it. It's very little you get.
Yeah. So now the question that you want to be asking yourself is, okay, so you know why you must, right? There's no more I can't, because you've got too much of a must. You don't have time to make excuses. You can't afford to make excuses. You don't have the money to make excuses right now. You genuinely don't have that. All you have is reasons for why you must. That's all you have right now. Anytime you catch yourself saying I can't, quickly switch it. Say I must. And when that now happens, here's what's gonna be the effect is you're gonna get pulled into a position where you got to ask yourself, what must I do? Okay, because you've answered that question of why you must do it. Now it's what must you do?
Now what I must do in my situation?
Yeah.
Well, I must learn new skill set and set time for it, and
Good.
speak to new people, networking, and start a partnership.
Good.
But most importantly, a new skill set.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You know how you were saying about earlier on in the call about this fear of
Yeah.
futility? You train in the gym?
Yeah.
Have you ever got a six pack going to the gym?
What?
Have you ever like trained hard enough to get a six pack in the gym?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have.
Awesome. So how many times have you done that? Is that just like one time, or have you done it multiple times before?
Well, multiple times before.
Multiple times. Yeah. So you know what's required in terms of the inputs to get a six pack, right?
It requires hard work and discipline and patience.
Yeah. I mean, if you was to prescribe a plan to somebody else to get a six pack who didn't have one in 90 days, what advice would you give them? What would they have to do in the gym specifically so that just from this one instruction, if they followed exactly what you told them to do, they'd 100% be guaranteed a six pack?
It's a good question, Brian. Say, I have to train at least 5 times, not day, but 5 times a week, and eat differently, and then stay consistent. Yeah, the key is consistency to achieve what you want to achieve.
So here's my question now. If somebody followed that plan, they ate well, they went to the gym 5 times a day, sorry, it's not 5 times a day, 5 times a week, and they did that for 90 days, would they be guaranteed a six pack?
Well, that depends on the person. If it's that depends on the consistency. If he's consistent, he will get a six pack.
Yeah. So if he went 5 times a week for 90 days, would he be guaranteed a six pack?
Yes.
Okay. Yasmin, do you agree?
Sorry, what was that?
So the question was, I'm not sure if you heard it. I was saying if somebody went to the gym and they went there 5 times a week for 90 days, that's all they were told to do. They were consistent. They were disciplined. Would they be guaranteed a six pack by the end of the 90 days?
No.
Why not?
Because they didn't change the diet.
Okay, so let's say that they changed their diet and they went 5 times a week for 90 days, were consistent. Would they be guaranteed a six pack?
They did the exercises that they needed to do. Technically, they should be if they've been doing everything with consistency. But so I don't think that you can guarantee it.
Okay, why not?
Because every person's body is different. Isn't it?
Absolutely. 100% agree with what you're saying. And if it was somebody who is obese, like for them to get a six pack,
then how much? Yeah. They gotta lose.
That's tough. That's tough. It's probably not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's not sustainable. Okay.
They'd improve, but not to the point where you can guarantee a six pack, for example.
Exactly. So this is the thing. Everybody starts at a different point. And if somebody is like just skinny, so one of my best friends, we went out to Italy together, and this guy was just the skinniest person that you've ever met. I mean, he looked like a freaking alien, how skinny he was. Arms that were just like, the guy from, what do they call it? Mr. Men? Mr. Tickle? This guy's arms look like that. So when me and him went out to Italy, I was in good shape. I'd been training. I had my six pack, everything like that. And he wanted to train with me. So they're like, listen, if you follow exactly what I tell you to do, I can guarantee you for where you're at right now, because he was just skinny, you'll get a six pack, like a proper six pack, not like a skin pack, but like a genuine six pack. You'll have that. You'll have all the shoulders. You'll have the chest. And we did it in about, he trained with me for 6 weeks. And then the next 4 or 5 weeks is when the guy was fully shredded. And here's the thing. If we're talking about somebody like him, where he's just skinny, and you give him 90 days of 5 days a week training, eating good, would they be guaranteed a six pack?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know the starting point, I guess. You know where they're starting from.
Okay. You want to know the actual answer? Because, I mean, it's kind of difficult when it's not something that not only you haven't done for yourself, but it's not something that you've done for other people. I can tell you, because I've done this for myself and other people. And I know what will guarantee a person a six pack, including myself. And what will guarantee that person that six pack is not only do they show up and put in 5 days a week of results, not only of the consistency, the main thing that will guarantee them that six pack is actually to do with their effort levels. Because I can set some person to do some exercises, and we say, listen, we're gonna put in the effort with what you've got going on right now. And they could do volume of, let's say, 100 bicep curls. They could do loads of them, but if they don't have the weight, 1K, it's only a 1 kg when they really should be doing 20. They're not guaranteed the six pack. So the reason this guy got shredded was because every single workout, by the end of the workout, just a 45-minute workout, he was exhausted. Most people, I like what David Goggins says. He says that most people, when they train up to like 40% of what their real capacity is. They're never giving more than 40%. And usually it's like 20 or 30. So here's what I would do when I would take somebody through a routine in the gym. We start somebody off and we start them with, what does 100% look like in terms of your effort? Let's see what that looks like first. And we do what's called a 1 rep max. And if I saw that this person could lift on their 1 rep max for a squat, they could do 150 kg. Then when we train, they ain't getting away with doing 30 kg reps. They ain't getting away with doing 40 kg reps. What I'm going to be putting on for them to do reps of 8, reps of 10, it's going to be roughly like 60%. So they're going to be doing like 100 kg and doing 6 to 8 reps of that, which in volume, when you think about it, the 1 rep max was only 150 kg. So the effort level to do that wasn't that hard. The volume that is 6 reps of 100 kg is 600 kg. And then I would also get them to do 5 sets of that. So they would end up lifting 600 times by 5, which is 3,000 kg compared to 150 kg. That's what guarantees the person the six pack. It's volume. So this is the thing, is like, if you look at that in a business principle, okay, we start somebody off and we do an initial test for the first day. If you just did 1 day and you went all in on that 1 day, whether it's with how many people that you give a phone call to, that you dial, how many people that you go and shake their hands in the street, how many people that you go and knock on doors for, you start off 1 day and you go to the max. What can you just max out on a single day? And it could be like maybe 200-300 phone calls. It could be 100 phone call. For that person, everyone will have a different max. But then what will get assigned to them in the program is going to be 60% of that. Because you know that that's something that you can sustain and you can do more reps of it. In your content, in your marketing, if you're going to do marketing and content, think about what does 100% look like in one day? And then to go for 100% every day, it's kind of difficult. It's not sustainable. Maybe 100% for yourself would look like you'd go live, you'd do like 4 or 5 posts, you'd do Instagram stories, 50 of them. You would just max it out on that first day. See whatever it's going to be. That's just to set the standard. And then you would do 60% of that, whatever that is, sustaining that every other day. If you can take the same approach, this is what will guarantee your results in business.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because business, like I said, is 95% spiritual, but it's also 5% physical. Meaning that you can't just sit there and meditate. You can't just pray. You can't just be having good intentions. You can't just have all the ideas. You have to actually go and do some motion, some work.
Yes. Some action, yes.
Some action.
Do some action.
Take some action. Precisely.
Yeah. Not just be idle and stand still.
No. Not just idle, not just staying still, but genuinely taking action and not doing things that are procrastination. A lot of the time we can do things that they feel like they're moving the needle. They feel productive, but it's not anything that actually moves the needle forwards in business.
Yeah, I do have an issue, much procrastination.
Because you're frozen.
Yeah.
Right? You were frozen. Let's say you're not frozen now. You were frozen. We're making you liquid.
Before. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to make you flow. You want to be in that flow? I must. I'll take you out procrastination.
Yes.
But you got to make sure that you're not kidding yourself. You got to make sure that you're not deluding yourself with how you're actually taking action. Because you might be doing work that feels like hard work. It feels like you're busy, but it's not taking action. So rather than just choosing what will ever fill the day, you want to put in as many things that's actually going to be leveraged action. Okay. Now, what do we mean by leveraged action? Well, regular action is where your inputs and your outputs are very similar. So you may have a certain capacity, you might have a certain amount of effort that you can personally put in, but for what you're getting out, it's all based off of your own strength, your own efforts, your own intelligence, right? Now, if you want to take leveraged action, now it's about what tools are you using so that you're able to get more out for what you put in. So if you think about, for example, right now, one way that you're taking action to make your income that is more linear and not leveraged is that you're trading your time for income.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's one way to make an income. It's not the best way, but if you're going to do that, the best thing that you can then do, no worries, Yasmin. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. What I'm saying is that the better thing that you can do, rather than just trading your own time for money, is you can start looking at how can you recruit a group of people.
Yes.
So that it's not just 100% of your own efforts, which is 100%, but how can you maybe get 10% of 100 people's efforts? Because 10% of 100 people's efforts is 1,000%. That makes you 10 times more valuable, 10 times more productive. And now you're able to have more of a leveraged action that you're taking. It's not just a regular action. That makes sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, for example, by investing into marketing for Instagram post, for example. It's one of them, right?
Say again?
Yeah, for investing into marketing for Instagram post.
Okay. How is that leverage? Because you know how I just described leverage then? I did it as a comparison. So
Yeah.
it was like you can either do 1% of your own efforts, or you can do 100% of your own efforts, maximize it like that, or you can do 10% of 100 people's. So I said that's leverage because it's compared to something else. So with what you described, with posting on Instagram or social media, how is that leverage? What are you comparing it to?
Well, I was thinking while investing into marketing, it comes out to more viewers, right? Isn't it kind of leverage somehow? We put the money into marketing and it comes out to more viewers.
Okay. And compared to what? Like, how is that better?
I'm not saying it's better, but I think isn't also a way to do things?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, what is it compared to that makes it seem better? What makes it more leveraged? How are you getting more out for what you're putting in by posting on social media in advertisements?
That it comes more out to more people to see your post. They
Yeah.
can take a look and maybe if they're interested, they will buy from you.
Okay. So that's the leverage of doing it. Here's another question. What's the non-leverage way of doing it?
They do all by yourself.
Like you just literally put out conversations yourself in how you go and spread the message one-to-one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. It's called organic content.
Okay. So what you're saying is like if you do organic, then there's less leverage than if you do paid. Because with money, now you can actually start leveraging through putting in your time, money to make your income, not just trading your time. So I see what you're saying there. And that is another way of leverage. But if it's just your money, it's not that leveraged.
No.
Because you only have so much. You can put in 100% of your own money. How would it become more leveraged?
By having someone on your side to work for you.
Well, I mean, if we looked at the time aspect, it was like 100% of your own time or 10% of 100 people's time. For money, it could either be 100% of your own money or what else could it be?
Like you mentioned, 10% of the people. Like I mentioned earlier.
10% of 100 people's money.
Yeah.
Right? If you do it that way, now you've got more leverage. You see?
Yes.
Another example of this. You spoke about social media marketing.
Yes.
So with social media marketing, if you're putting out content as opposed to just relying on your own efforts of speaking individually to people one at a time, how do you think that that is leverage?
Well, if your post comes out to many viewers,
Yeah.
it can be a small leverage, not a big leverage.
So no, it could be huge leverage, right?
It could be huge or small. It depends on how much you do it, how much you post.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the way to look at it, is that when you speak to someone one-to-one, having this conversation with you right now, right? But it's just the one person. If I was to just have this conversation and I didn't record it and I didn't post it, then it would be 100% of my effort in this moment, and that's it. Now, let's say I go and post this conversation onto YouTube, which is what I'm doing. I post this conversation onto a social media platform, and people come to view it.
Yes.
They can view it at any point in the future, but I don't have to be there. Meaning that I can actually be in multiple places all at once. Why? Because I have a digital version of myself that other people can go and have a conversation with, and they'll get the same experience. And I don't then have to repeat myself. I can then speak about so many different things and have thousands of conversations with people all at once, as opposed to relying on my physical time and space in order to get that same message across.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It makes sense. There's also a big leverage from there.
Huge leverage.
Like that. A huge leverage.
Could you imagine? Because it's like not just the fact that you could have one video that gets shown to thousands of people. What if you had 1,000 videos with 1,000 different conversations that were getting shown to 1,000 people each?
With different topics. Yeah.
Can you see how much leverage that there is there now?
Yeah, I can see there's a lot more leverage in that.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Exactly. So this is what we're talking about in terms of the future. Now, here's another form of leverage, right? Let's say that you wanted to come up with some emails that you were going to send out to a list of people that were interested in your product or offer, whatever.
Email list. Right?
Yeah. Let's say you had an email list, and you personally could write your own emails. If you was to personally put in that effort to write your own emails, then it would require your own ideas. It would require your own manual work of like typing it all out.
Yeah.
Or what you could do is you could be like going to something like ChatGPT, hey, I've got some ideas for my emails. I've got a list. This is the brand. This is the message. Can you give me a bunch of emails, ideas that we can put together? And then once we've got the ideas, I want you to just write out the emails like this. Okay. If I was to do that and the AI could actually give me the emails just as good as that I would make them myself, can you see how that's another form of leverage?
Yes. It's also another form of leverage.
Yes.
Using AI.
Mm-hmm. Because it's also time that's being put in, but what you're leveraging is you're leveraging this intelligence because it might be able to even give better ideas than you can give yourself. So now it's the code that you're leveraging. So to simply put this, there's 4 C's of leverage. You've got capital that we spoke about. Sometimes you can leverage money, but it doesn't always have to be your money. It could be 10% of 100 people's. That would be great.
Yeah.
Another form of leverage is content. You can put your content out there, put this message to the world, be in so many different places at once, at so many different times.
Yeah.
Another form of leverage, another C, is collaboration. You can actually collaborate with a network of people who have time, experience, and instead of putting in 100% of your own time, you get 10% of 100 people's time. That's through collaboration, more leverage. The final one, the final C of leverage, is code. Leveraging AI, leveraging these workflows, chats, agents, automations, and that's only going to get better and easier for the average person over time to use, because the cost is going down, the barrier to entry is going down, and the intelligence is getting more and more effective over time. So it's never been a better time to start getting into entrepreneurship, really.
That's correct, actually. It's better start now, not later.
Exactly. So this is what we mean by taking leveraged action. And that's physical leverage that we're talking about right there as well.
Yeah.
This is where we get into stuff that people don't teach you in business, but it's the biggest game changers. Remember how we were saying that only 5% of success is physical, 95% is spiritual. Well, if there's physical leverage, don't you think that there's spiritual leverage?
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
Spiritual is required for the most part. Yeah, spiritual is required for the most part to begin with.
Yeah. So
and your mindset.
In spiritual leverage, how do you think that you could maybe have more spiritual leverage in taking action? Like, how could you have more spiritual leverage?
By knowing people, networking, and by speaking to people, having different energy field, and changing your mindset from frozen to much do things, not just sit there and freeze yourself, right? Like I said.
Exactly.
Yeah, you begin to take action. But you start taking mindset first.
Yeah.
You start with mindset first before you start taking action.
Okay, so I see what you're saying here. To simplify what you're saying, I'm going to help you. The spiritual leverage that you're talking about is having a shift of your energy, your frequency, your mindset, having all of this shift, because it's all spiritual stuff. Having that shift by getting into the proximity of another human being that is further ahead, which is a form of collaboration, right? So through that physical means, you get into the proximity of the person, but then you can get spiritual leverage by the fact that the energy transfer that you have in that engagement is such that now you're operating from a higher frequency, a higher vibration, which if you didn't have that leverage of the person there that could elevate your energy, it might take you a long time in order to start raising your own vibration.
Yeah. It would take a very long time.
So it's a cheat code. Because what would usually take you years to find out or use years to shift in terms of that energy, you can get it like that. You can get a taste of it like this. I remember when I went to Japan and I was able to speak with a guy who had $1 billion business. And I remember just being in his energy field. And afterwards, my energy just shifted completely and my results skyrocketed because he was pouring into me. And there was this exchange that was happening where I could feel my energy shifting. Right? So that was spiritual leverage that happened there. So that's one form of spiritual leverage. How else do you think there may be spiritual leverage that you can experience?
Well, we spoke about the differential sense of spiritual leverage, and to speak through differential, like we do right now.
Say again?
You can also speak through visual. You make video calls and you speak to a person you want to learn from. That's also a way of spiritual leverage.
So how is that different to what we just outlined?
Not too difficult, but you still learn from the person who's speaking to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
For video calls, but not the exact same as when you're physical present in that place.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, but you get lost, but not this. But you don't get the exact same feeling when you're on that place.
Absolutely. So to summarize that, it's like your spiritual leverage could just simply be through leveraging another person's energy. Okay.
Yes.
That could be video. It could be through being physically with them. It could be through reading one of their books. All of these are different means. Some of them are just better forms. Let's put it that way. But outside of leveraging from another person's energy, how else could you have more spiritual leverage?
Yes, they can.
So yeah, outside of collaborating with another person who can share their energy with you in any form, whether it's video, phone call, physically with them, how else could you experience spiritual leverage?
Being around them physically.
But that's one of the forms. So you've got the form of the phone call, being around them physically. You've got all of these come under the umbrella of the spiritual leverage that comes from being in the proximity of another person. So I'm saying, if we're not looking at just being in the proximity of another person and leveraging from another person, how else could you have spiritual leverage?
I don't really know.
Okay, that's fine. This is why we're here on the call, to help you learn things that you don't necessarily know, right? So we've got one of them through the collaboration. You can get some spiritual leverage that way. Let me ask you a question. When I use the word spiritual, what does that mean to you? Oh, can you hear me now?
There's no sound. I can't hear you. There's no sound. I
You
can't hear your voice. I can't hear anything.
I'm not sure why, because nothing's changed on my end. Do you want to maybe try jump in and out?
I still can't hear you for some reason. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, my question to you, I don't know if you heard, was when I use the word spiritual, What does that word mean to you?
In the spiritual sense, it means that, to me, it means that what you feel inside of you. You get this feeling, it's kind of a feeling you get inside. I don't know how to explain to you. I don't know how to explain to you.
Okay, let me give you the simple breakdown. Anything that is physical is concerning particles, which is the physical things. It's when energy is no longer in motion, it's just still, and now we have the perception of things that we can see physically. It's not the space, it's just the things we can see. However, the spiritual is not the particle, it's the wave. And that's energy that we're talking about now. It's the empty space. It's the part of which we can move around, but we can't exactly touch it, feel it, see it with the senses that are physical senses to see the 3D world. Okay? So when you look at the word 3D, you know what the D stands for?
What's the stand for?
The D in 3D stands for dimension.
Right, yeah, dimension. Yeah.
The third dimension. So do you know what the different dimensions are from the first to the third?
You say again?
Do you know what the different dimensions are from the first dimension to the third dimension?
No, I don't.
Okay. So the first dimension is just where you've got a straight line. It's just one point to the next point. One-dimensional thinking. That's all it is. Right? Or one-dimensional reality.
Yeah.
Can't hold it, you can't touch it, but you can see that it's just 2 points. One dimension. The second dimension is now any shape that doesn't just have 2 points, but it has 3. So now you've got a triangle. That's now 2D shape. You could have a circle. It's also a 2D shape. Anything where it's flat, right? The octagon, hexagon, all of these are two-dimensional shapes.
Yeah.
Now the third dimension is anything now where it's not just length and width, but it's also breadth and depth, which allows for you to have a box. So you have a box, you have a sphere, you have an you have a pyramid. These are now looking at three-dimensional shapes. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Our human body that we can see is a third dimensional shape. It's like it's over here. This is a sphere, almost the head. Then you've got the body, which is almost like for most people, it's a bit like a sphere, but I'd say it's more like an oblong. Is that what they call it? Yeah. Or a cuboid. Is that what the one? But it's basically, you know what I'm saying? There's like different shapes. You've got maybe a cone somewhere else with your arm. So it's just a mix of three-dimensional shapes. Now the question is, what's the fourth dimension?
It's a good question. What's the fourth dimension?
Or even, here's another question. How many dimensions do you think there are in total?
I think there's more than 4 and 5.
Okay.
There must be more of them.
Do you know how many that we are aware of that exist?
Maybe we are aware of. We were 1 and 2 or 3.
Yeah.
How about 5th and 6th and 7th?
There's actually 11 dimensions of reality that scientists have broken down, right? So when you look at the first 3 dimensions, these are the ones that we can perceive with our five senses.
Yeah.
And when it starts going into higher dimensions, it becomes more and more difficult to use the same faculties to perceive these dimensions. So if I was to pull up a screen right now, can you see the screen?
I can see a screen.
Awesome. Can you see? We've got the first dimension, a line between 2 points. Second dimension, the shape. The line is stretched out 90 degrees into a square. It has length, width, but not height. It's flat on a table. Free movement in the first dimension is what we have. So it's the second dimension. The third dimension, length, width, and height. This square is stretched out at 90 degrees to form a cube, the third dimension. The cube has length, width, and now height. In 2 dimensions, if a square was in our way, we would have to travel around it. In the third dimension, we can now jump over the square or move anywhere in the 2D world at will. We have free movement in the second dimension. Now we've got the fourth dimension. Length, width, height, and time. Duration.
Mm-hmm.
So in the second dimension, we can only see cross sections of the third dimension. Likewise, in the third dimension, we can only see the cross sections of the fourth dimension. This is what we perceive as duration from one time period to the next. We only have free movement in one direction of time. Our path through time is determined by our choices, random chance, and the influence of others. We have free movement in the third dimension.
Yes.
This is what happens in the fourth. Now, after the fourth dimension, there's another dimension, which is the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension is where you're really starting to move from the physical reality to now you're getting into the spiritual reality.
Okay. The spiritual reality is the fifth dimension then.
Exactly. Because over here, all possible outcomes of your life and the decisions that you make are accessible. A multitude of paths that we can branch to at any given moment. We could move backwards or forwards in time with ease to see ourselves in any given time period, but we cannot change our past or our future as we only have movement within our own timeline. We have free movement back and forth in the fourth dimension.
Mm. Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm. So when you have the particles, that's the third dimension that makes up the second that we can see. The particles don't have the potential and the probability there. Let me show you exactly what I mean here, right?
Yeah.
When I'm talking about particles, when I'm talking about waves, you might not actually understand what I'm saying. So I want to make this like really simple so that you can see what the difference is between the particle versus a wave, right? So if I'm to pull out this diagram over here and share this tab, now what can you see?
Wave.
You've got a wave, you've got a particle.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference?
I can see the difference.
Yeah. The particle is measured by the third dimension. These are like physical things. Whereas the wave is measured by a frequency.
Mm.
Now, while something exists as a wave, you don't see it.
Yes,
All it is, over here, it's reality that's been collapsed. It's already here. It's a physical thing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to manifest a physical thing, money, a person, an opportunity, these are all physical things, right?
Yes.
If you want to go towards being able to change what is in the physical, you don't look at the effect, you look at the cause. Because the cause of particles is the waves. This is the energy, the frequency. Over here, this is where every probability and possibility exists. Every single one. So there is a probability, there's a possibility where you have everything that you want in your life. You literally have all the money, all the success, all the freedom. It all exists at the energetic level. But in the particle form, currently you're like, no, this isn't my situation. I don't have the money. None of it is here. And if you are more focused on this part, the reason why is because you're seeing yourself not as the wave, but you're seeing yourself as the particle. When really the truth is that you're not a physical being, but you're an energy being living in a physical reality.
That makes sense. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right? And again, go back to the thing about what we were saying about being frozen versus being liquid, being fluid, being flow. Energy flows, but particles don't.
They don't.
The physical things, they don't flow. It's the energy that flows. So if you want to become more liquid, you want to become more flow, so you can have more cash flow, you've got to go from shifting the identity from just being totally frozen, because frozen is solid, to now becoming more like the wave, the energy that's flowing. Because you don't want to be totally on the extreme of energy, because that's things that you can't see. That's the evaporation.
Yeah.
You want to have the flow, which is the wave and the particle together. And if you want to go from this to this, you've got to become more like this. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
This is how everything that seems impossible becomes possible. Because the law of possibility, this is what you want to remember. The law of possibility is that anything that is physically impossible becomes possible through leverage. And anything that is spiritually impossible doesn't exist, because nothing is spiritually impossible.
No.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yes.
Anything that's physically impossible at a particle level with leverage becomes possible. Anything that is spiritually impossible over here is not something that exists, because everything in the spiritual is possible.
Yeah.
All possibilities exist here. This is some high level stuff. Are you getting this?
I'm getting this now. I'm slowly getting it. I'm trying to get all in information.
Yeah. It's starting to make sense, right?
It starts to make sense slowly. I'm trying to understand now.
Okay. I want you to explain it back to me.
About this picture here?
Yeah.
So yeah, so what I understood now is that you need to tap into the energy field that can grant you many things in the physical world. But that requires you to change your perception of things. Right?
Say that again.
That requires for you to change your perception and your mindset to tap into the energy field.
Because at the
That's what I
moment,
understand now.
where are you at the moment? Yeah. Out of these three, where are you right now?
In the 3D world, yes. Third dimension.
Third dimension, particle, but you got to be tapping into the energy field.
Yes.
Now you can become more wave and particle.
Exactly.
Makes sense?
It makes sense.
Pretty simple, right?
It is simple. They never teach you that at school.
They never teach this at school.
They don't. And it's done on purpose. Actually, it's done on purpose to not let you know that you can tap into energy. If everyone knows that everyone would be rich by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If all knows how to tap into it,
yeah,
they don't want that.
So here's the thing, right? The truth is that if your energy, it's not as if you're not tapping into this energy field. It just might be that currently your leverage in this area is not great. So you might actually be taking some good action. You're putting in effort, you're hardworking, you've got this part down to a T. But it might just be that this area, there's a problem, okay? Because you can't, as an energy being, not be tapping into the energy field. You just might be bad at tapping into the energy field, okay? So let me pull up this, what is it? This image right now that can show you a little bit more as to the levels of competence. You ever heard of this before? The levels of competence? Let's see if I find a nice one. This one is fine, actually, yeah. So if we've got the levels of competence, it basically measures how a person goes from being terrible at something, being a novice, to then becoming a master, being world-class, expert. And what it requires is that you go from unconscious incompetent. What does unconscious mean?
Well, unconscious means that you are. I don't have to explain that. Well, maybe you can explain better what true means.
Simply put, it means awareness.
Yeah.
Right. If you're unconscious of something, you're unaware.
Yeah, unaware.
You're not familiar with it. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So today, I've taken you from being unaware of your problem to now being aware, because you know now. Before, you didn't know that you were frozen. You didn't know that you were frozen ice. You didn't know that you were particle. But I've taken you to knowing what your problem is.
Yes.
Right? So you've gone from being unconsciously incompetent to being consciously incompetent, which is actually like 25% of the work. Congratulations.
Thank you. But thanks to you, actually.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I can help you to become consciously incompetent. What I can't do is this next part. Right? I can't take you from conscious incompetence to conscious competence. This is yourself that has to change to become consciously competent.
For my actions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Through your actions, reviewing your actions, and then changing. What I can always do is help you to become conscious of your incompetence. Now, here's the thing. I've just helped you to become conscious of your incompetence in one small area, but the area that I've chosen to make you conscious about is an area that I believe if you was to change this one area, could have major results in your life. I could have chosen many different areas that you were incompetent within, but this is the area that I know that you want to get the best results in. So this is where I'm the most to start off with. But this next part requires that you actually start taking action, making mistakes, failing, and then you become competent.
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense now.
It's simple.
Yeah, it is simple. I haven't never thought about that. Never did I thought about this specifically. It's very interesting, actually.
Now, here's the thing. When we're talking about something moving from the unconscious to the conscious, your unconscious mind, let me pull up something else.
Yeah.
All right, let me pull up something else. Unconscious versus conscious. Images. Okay, take a look at this. This over here, can you see?
I can see it.
Yeah. This is a picture of your mind. This iceberg in the sea. Your mind is the iceberg that you can see, but did you know that with an iceberg, the majority of the iceberg is beneath the ocean, not on the surface?
So when
the Titanic hit the iceberg, they actually couldn't see it. They couldn't see where they hit the ship. It was underneath, of which they hit an iceberg. So what this shows us is that 5% of everything that we think about is in our conscious mind, and 95% is in our subconscious mind, our unconscious mind.
Yes, or subconscious mind.
What is sub means beneath, right? So it's what's beneath the surface.
Beneath the surface, yes.
Yeah. So everything in your conscious you can see, you're aware of. It's the thoughts that you personally know that you have.
Yeah.
The pre-conscious, the things that you could be aware of if you wanted to, if you're coachable, if you're open, if you want to try, this is the things that is going to eventually come to the surface. And the unconscious is the things that you're unaware of and you cannot become aware of. This is where you can't help yourself. This is where you really need someone who is a coach or somebody who can actually guide you through asking certain questions to bring forth what is in the unconscious to the conscious. This is where like you got to really get deep in, right?
Yeah.
This is where your fears are stored, your unacceptable desires, your violent motives, your irrational wishes, your immoral urges, your selfish needs, your shameful experiences, your traumatic experiences. All of this is in the unconscious. So whilst you're unconsciously incompetent, the reason why is not because of what you know, it's because of what you don't know.
Yeah.
It's because of your fears, it's because of your shameful experiences, your traumatic experiences, everything like that is the reason for why you are where you are right now. And so if we go back to this tab over here, when you're in the unconscious incompetence phase, this is where 95% of everything that you do is making you incompetent. And when you're running through unconsciously throughout the day, because 95% of the day we spend in our unconscious mind, it's on autopilot. That's why we call it the autonomic nervous system. It's the automatic nervous system. Right? So when we're in that place of being on autopilot, things are just happening effortlessly. As soon as you have to bring something forth to your conscious mind, you don't have that many resources available in order to use those thoughts. So there's only so much that you can focus on at once in becoming good at a particular thing.
Yes.
But eventually, when you get good, and I mean really good, just like the same way that you tie your shoelaces, just like the same way that you're able to communicate in the language that you can communicate in.
Yeah.
Eventually, you reach a level that we call unconscious competence. This is where you don't even need any resources from your conscious mind to operate. Simply through that 95% of your autonomic nervous system, the automatic one, you automatically start getting good results with ease. And that's how you eventually reach that level of mastery, where it becomes second nature. And the hardest part at this point is actually continuing to do work, because everything feels easy. You become complacent. That's not something you got to worry about right now. The main thing that you want to be worrying about right now, how can you move from these lower levels, being consciously incompetent, to becoming consciously competent?
I have to work on myself.
Mm-hmm. You got to give that conscious effort towards becoming better, right?
Yeah.
These two things. Everything that you don't know you're bad at, you got to become conscious of. Become conscious of the unconscious. Everything that you do know you're bad at, work on it.
Yes.
Allocate resources towards getting better. Exactly. Right. So now you already know one thing that you're not good at, that I give you on the call, which is being frozen.
Yes.
Work on becoming liquid.
Let's work on it.
Yeah. And then every other call that you come to, what you're going to do is you're just going to become conscious of the things that you're not good at.
Yes.
And the more that you come to the calls, and you know what? I implemented something from yesterday. I did one thing that was an action step that I didn't think I could do the day before. And now I've done it. But I got this feedback, and it made me conscious of where I'm going wrong, because it was a painful experience. You come to me and I tell you, this is the real problem. I make you conscious of what the real problem is. Make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay, so that was a little bit of a tangent. Going back to the dimensions of reality. We were on the fifth dimension, right?
Yes, the fifth one.
Can you explain the fifth dimension to me?
Now, I don't remember much from the fifth dimension.
Okay, can you explain the fourth dimension to me?
Well, I have to read it again.
Okay, can you explain the third dimension to me?
This is the 3D level. This the 3D dimension we are right now in.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain. I'm not going to explain these things when it comes to this.
The thing is, what I'm doing when I'm asking you to explain it back to me is I'm helping to show you how high your level of understanding is, right?
Yeah.
Because if I've just given you the knowledge and you've taken it and you said, yeah, makes sense, you can say, yeah, makes sense, but that doesn't mean that you understand it. You know, but you don't understand. When you can teach it back to me, that's when I know you understand it. Because you've been able to assimilate the truth and put it in such a simple term that you can go and share that with another person. You teach that to another person, including me, including yourself.
Yeah.
And you did that just before when you spoke about where you needed to go to from particle to wave. You understood that part.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So with dimensions of reality, it might just be that you don't understand. Okay, so let's see where your understanding is. Do you understand what the first dimension is? Can you see the screen as well, by the way?
I can see the screen.
Okay, so do you understand what the first dimension is?
It's a straight line from A to B, right?
Exactly. Straight
That's the
line
first dimension.
from A to B. 2 points, that's it. What's the second
Two
dimension?
points. The second was 3 points. 3 points there. Around. Yeah, is it 3 points or how is it? Just to explain.
Another way to explain it, it's not necessarily the points. I shouldn't have said that. It's more so that in the first dimension, you have length.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that exists. But in the second dimension, you can measure not just length, but you can also measure width. And that can come in many different shapes. It can come in shapes that have 4 points, 5 points, 100 points. These are all the different shapes that are possible in the second dimension. How about the third dimension? What's the difference there?
Difference is for me. I feel like it's difficult to explain what it is. In the third dimension.
Well, how about if I make it easy for you to explain?
Make it easy?
Yeah, easy to explain. Here's how it's easy to explain. First dimension is length. That's easy to explain, right?
Yes.
Second dimension is length and width. That's easy to explain.
Yes.
Third dimension is length, width, and height. Is that easy to explain?
Length and height.
Yeah, length, width, and height.
Length, width, and height. Yeah.
Is that easy to explain?
Yes.
Yeah. Fourth dimension is length, width, height, and duration and time.
Duration and time.
So what's the fourth dimension?
The length and height, width, and duration and time. Duration and time.
Yeah. Length, width, height, and duration.
Length, width, height, and duration.
Okay, so let me explain the fourth dimension to you in a way that makes sense for you. You right now are stood, I don't know, like in whatever room that you're in, okay? But there's also a version of you who is going to go into your bed.
Yes.
Same object, different time.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Kind of, yes. Same object at different time. With different timeline? Or different time?
You know, when people say timeline, they're referring to this arrow here. That's the timeline. So it's the same object across the timeline. Now it's somewhere else in time.
Yeah.
That's the fourth dimension. So it has everything from the third dimension, just with the addition of time.
Yeah, I need to. This was again. I don't really understand. I don't understand completely yet. It's a bit difficult for me to understand.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult for some reason. I don't know why.
Let me ask you this. Do you understand this part, the third dimension?
Yeah, third dimension, that's what we're in now.
You understand this part, yeah? So if you understand this part, let me ask you this. Do you understand how time works?
Maybe how time normally works, so just to be specific?
Yeah, just how time normally works.
Yes.
How does time normally work?
Like there's hours and days, and
Yes.
is that how it works?
Exactly. So time with objects is the fourth dimension.
It's the fourth.
Yeah. This arrow could be 1 hour, could be 1 day, could be 1 week, could be 1 year, anything. But that and an object is the fourth dimension. Does this make sense?
Not quite yet.
Okay. But you understand this part. You understand the third dimension. You understand the object.
Yes, in third dimension, yes.
And you understand what time is on its own.
Yeah.
Hours, minutes, etc.
Yeah, hours, minutes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that combined with the object is the fourth dimension.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
Okay.
Let me
put it a different way.
It's too much information at once. I think that's the reason why, maybe.
Let me put it a different way. The third dimension is the fourth dimension without time. So over here, there's no hours, there's no days. That doesn't exist in the third dimension.
Yeah.
And if you think about it from the perspective of like an animal, does an animal measure minutes and hours and days?
They do know, maybe somehow.
Say again?
They can measure what time it is, right? Through looking at the sunset and
yeah, I mean, not necessarily. It's more like instinctual, isn't it?
Yeah, instinct, yeah.
Yeah, so like you don't really think, I mean, as much as we look at these cartoon movies and the animals can talk and imagine and like fall in love and all this stuff, like an animal doesn't really sit there thinking, damn, only 30 minutes till lunch.
No, it doesn't think like that.
It doesn't think like, you know what? If I save up this food for the next 5 years, like I'll be able to accumulate so much in savings. I don't think like that. Because it doesn't have the conception of time.
Yes.
So even human beings at one point, some of the more primal human beings didn't have the conception of time. It was something that was created.
Yeah.
The ones that are more animal-like, they don't really think in time. This is the fourth dimension.
The fourth dimension.
Where time is. This is like the animal part. So this is what I'm saying. Like a lot of human beings are actually quite animalistic. They're very much in the 3D.
In the 3D world.
Yes. The 4D world is where you've got people who are ambitious, they're setting goals, they're planning stuff. This is that next dimension.
Isn't that what they call a higher vibration?
Say again?
Isn't that what they call a higher vibration?
A higher vibration.
A higher vibration.
Higher vibration.
And the 3D is a lower vibration.
I will show you some vibrations in a second as well. Give me 1 second. Just so that you can understand more about this, because the level of vibration that you're at is actually going to help you in being able to not just know what I'm talking about by knowledge or understanding, but to experience it through wisdom. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you take a look at this tab over here, can you see this is actually showcasing the different dimensions?
It showcases different dimensions. I can see that.
Absolutely. But all of these numbers over here represent the levels of energy.
Yeah.
This is the vibration. If you have a higher vibration, you're going to be more so in paradise. You're going to be more so in the fourth dimension, empowerment. If you're in the lower vibrations, you're going to be in the third dimension, in purgatory, anger, pride, desire, fear, grief.
Yeah.
Apathy, guilt, shame, everything like this.
So that's the low vibration. You get these feelings.
Exactly.
That makes sense, actually.
Simple, right?
Yeah,
So
simple.
if you want to experience what it's like to be in the fourth dimension, you got to elevate your emotions to come into here, into willingness.
To a higher state.
Yeah, neutrality, courage, acceptance. But then to come into this part over here, which is now in the fifth dimension, now you're coming into inner light, wisdom, inner love, oneness,
yeah,
presence. Does this part make sense?
And this part makes sense for me.
Yeah?
This part.
How it will show up is that, yeah, the way that you'll identify with yourself at the lower levels is going to be at the lowest level. This is your ego.
The lowest.
Yeah. That's when you're not being yourself at all. The ego means false identity, edging God out. This is the lowest self. You're in hell, purgatory. The level above now is your rational, linear, emotional self. Now you're in that fourth dimension in between, and it's about becoming more into your self-empowerment, taking that power back and rising above. And then eventually you start moving into your higher self. This is where you got into that fifth dimension paradise. And then there's some crazy selves over here as well. Planetary self, galactic self, universal self, causal self, supercausal self, absolute self. But you don't need to worry about that right now. that's far ahead. Don't need to worry about that. Just get to the first level of paradise, right? That's what we're aiming for. In fact, you just want to get to the rational, linear, emotional self. You get to there, you're doing well. But if you start getting to paradise, well, your external reality will be like paradise as well. Make sense?
That makes sense.
Beautiful. So we go back to this tab over here now.
Yes.
That third dimension is the ego, the animal, the lower self.
The lower self.
Yep. The fourth dimension now is that self, which is the self-empowered self. They know their time. They can make things happen. They can get what they want. They can plan things. That's that fourth dimension.
Yes.
Does that make sense now?
That makes more. It makes more sense now.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you think you can explain it back to me?
The fourth dimension is more the lower self dimension. It's more the lower level. Let's put it like that. The fourth is the higher vibration level you get to. You can plan to do what you want. You will achieve it. When you are that level. That's how I see it now.
Absolutely. You've got time now as well.
Yes.
Okay? So in this reality, you will most likely reach your goals, but
If I stay
everything...
at that level.
What's that?
If I stay at fourth dimension, I'll reach my goals, right?
The difference between the third dimension and the fourth, in the third dimension, you're not even going to hit your goals.
No.
You're just so likely to not get anything because you don't even perceive that time is on your side. Right? In the fourth dimension,
that's been me for so many years. That's been me for so many years.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
You just don't see what happens through continually putting in effort over time. So in the third dimension, nothing that you want to experience is going to happen because you're just going to be in survival mode. When you think about an animal,
I'll try that survival mode.
Exactly. An animal is not going to be trying to thrive. They just want to survive. That's it.
Yeah.
So your reality will reflect that. You will have enough to survive and that's it. You won't die, but you'll have enough to survive. That's the third dimension. Fourth dimension is where you're trying to get out of survival. You're trying to move between the particle and the wave.
Yes.
Right? This is where you want to enter into. But when you're going through this process, what's happening is that everything feels like hard work because you can only see one pathway to your success, one timeline.
Yeah.
Right? Here's where things get cool. Here's where things get cool. In the fifth dimension, notice how the difference here is that there's how many arrows? Multiple arrows.
Yeah, there are multiple arrows, yes.
Almost an infinite amount of arrows. Different timelines.
Yes.
So it's basically the fourth dimension, same as that, object over here in the middle, but then lots of different timelines. This one could be 1 minute. This one could be 30 minutes. This one could be 1 hour. This one could be 5 years. This one could be 100 years. And so if you imagine this object over here is you, and this is you where you want to be. See, this can either take, as this timeline might suggest, that timeline could show as being 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? It could take 5 years in one timeline when you're thinking one-dimensionally through time. Over here, this is you, and all of these objects represent where you want to be.
Yes.
This can take 1 year going down this pathway. This can take 5 years. This can take 10. This can take 100. This can take an hour. Right?
Yeah.
So now the question is, in this fifth dimension, where all of these different possible variations of yourself exist,
how
are you able to choose the timeline where things happen the fastest?
You're asking how am I able to choose the time that happens the fastest?
Yeah.
I'm going to choose that that requires me to go to higher vibration, right?
You've got it. Bingo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I need to go to higher vibration to achieve a faster success.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. We look back at this. If you want to enter into that fifth dimension, go to a higher vibration, and
you'll to raise my vibration levels.
Yes, you'll start seeing the possibility of you experiencing that reality closer to the time that is now.
Yeah.
You won't see it as if, oh, it has to take 5-10 years. You won't see it like, oh, to become a billionaire, it's going to take 20 years.
I used to see that way.
You'll start seeing it as if, no, I'm that person now. And you'll collapse reality so that your reality is changing because of the way that you are starting to have an effect on your reality rather than be affected by it.
Exactly. It's very funny how you never learned at school.
It's funny how you never learned this at school.
It's very funny how you never learned this at school. It's like it's very strange actually when we think about it. They don't want you to learn this at all.
So here's the thing. In physics, this is actually something that is known. It's taught. So physicians know this stuff. You can look at quantum science, which is a study of physics, of the quantum study where you're looking at particles and waves. But what the scientists don't know, most of them, is how they can apply this into their life, right?
Yeah.
So you've got different levels of truth. You've got knowledge, or you got even before knowledge, you got ignorance. That's the absence of truth.
Yes.
Knowledge is the accumulation of truth, is where you're gathering the truth. So I've given you a lot of knowledge today. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I do agree on that. I agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Better than school systems.
Better than
much
school
more
systems
better.
In one
on
day.
a short time, although so many things on a short time.
But it's not just
about wasting 10 years on school.
It's about how many things that are genuinely going to change your life. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? So after the knowledge, now you've got understanding, which is the assimilation of truth, being able to teach it back, make it simple for yourself and other people.
Yes.
From the call, you've gained some understanding because you taught me some of the stuff back. And simultaneously, whilst you're teaching it to me, you were teaching it to you.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the final part is wisdom. That is the application of the truth.
Yeah.
Being able to actually go and apply this into real life. Not just knowing that there's these different dimensions, but how can you start raising that vibration?
Yeah, that's a question.
And how can you now start collapsing timeframes? So you're not just waiting on that time frame of 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, or never, but it's what's the time frame that is 30 days, 90 days, etc. How can I get much quicker to collapsing my time frame? And how it's possible is through two main methodologies, which we go all the way back to what we were saying at the beginning of the call.
Yeah.
You're going to be anchored down by your fear and by your lower self, your lower vibrations.
Anxiety.
Exactly. All of that lower identity, the ego self, that's going to weigh you down. Or you can be pulled up by your higher self and you can turn towards the higher vibrations.
Yeah.
And now the question is, what has to make that turn? Because your energy, where's your energy stored, or what's responsible for your energy and vibration? What part of the body?
In the environment, and the people you're around with.
No. Your own body, right? Because your own, like I said, you're an energy being living in a physical body.
Yes.
So within your physical body, what causes your energy?
Causes the energy field.
That is the energy field. That's what we're talking about. What causes you to have that energy field? Is it your brain? Is it your mouth? Is it your hands? Is it your legs? What causes you to have this energy field? What part of your body?
Is it spiritual?
That's the energy. But what causes you to have that spiritual energy? What part of the body? What physical part of the body?
Your brains?
Your brain?
And heart?
So here's what I would say, because your brain is one cause. I would say that, yeah. Is there anything else?
Heart? Or your heart?
Heart
is one of them that causes.
That's why, again, going back to quantum science, there's such a thing called heart-brain coherence. You ever heard of that before?
Yeah, I heard it before, actually. I've heard it before, a long time
Brain
ago.
coherence. That is where the brain and the heart start to unify and they become aligned.
Yeah, they work together.
Anxiety is where the heart and the brain are working against each other.
I've had it many times before, anxiety problems. I mean, some severe ones.
That's because your brain and your heart is this internal tension. They're working against each other.
Yeah, I felt that.
It feels like your chest feels tense.
Yeah, I felt it many times, actually. It feels tense and tighten sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So if I show you what incoherence looks like, going back to sharing my screen, heart incoherence looks like this. It's frustration, it's anxiety, it's worry, it's irritation. This is everything that impairs performance. It's incoherence.
I've had all of them. I've had all of those symptoms you just mentioned.
Exactly. All of this will impair your performance. Whereas coherence is positive emotions, appreciation, love. All of that promotes optimal performance.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference as to what the line looks like? There's
I
no
can see a
jagged.
big difference.
It's just smooth. No tension.
Yes.
Just pure flow.
Smooth.
This is what promotes optimal performance. This is what impairs it. Right?
Yeah.
And so if we go back to what I was just explaining before in terms of what is the responsible parts of our physical body that's influencing our energy, we've got our brain and we've got our heart. Well, what our brain does is our brain can be the ego that it's weighing us down, that anchor. The brain is going to be saying, I can't do this because I am so and so. The brain is going to be giving all these logical reasons why you can't do whatever. So the brain can
safe mode.
Yeah. The way that you want to look at the brain is like, imagine having a sword. It could be helpful to have a sword as a weapon, right? You can chop people up, you can protect yourself, defend yourself. But what if your sword replaced your hands? And you could never turn it off. Could you imagine just like trying to do basic things? You want to try to like literally put on your clothes. You would just chop yourself.
Difficult.
It'd be really difficult.
There'll be tensions always tensions.
You'd be hurting yourself every time you do it, harming yourself. And that's what people are doing a lot of the time, is it's not turning off their brain, and that ego is coming into play and it's just harming themselves, hurting themselves. Pain, 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 pain. Now, once you're able to really, get it to a point of which the brain is no longer just pouring out these thoughts that are destructive thoughts, you can get it to a point where your heart is now the one who may or may not be able to activate this energy within. Because remember, the heart is like those wings. The brain is the anchor. If you want those wings to unlock, now you've got to start tuning into the energy of love, tuning into the energy of abundance, right? To these higher vibrations.
Yeah.
And if you want to unlock that, then you've got to make sure that your heart doesn't have any diseases inside of it. You got to make sure that your heart has been purified. Maybe you still have some emotional residue from past experiences that you've not been able to overcome and let go of. So you got to be able to that. You got to be able to forgive people that maybe you've been having anger towards, resentment. You got to be able to show appreciation and love. And the more that you're able to activate this heart so that it starts becoming expansive instead of contractive, the more that you're going to unlock this heart-brain coherence. And now you'll be entering into your flow. Higher vibrations, smaller timelines, collapsed reality, and things are moving to you. You know how people say there's the law of attraction. You start attracting things in your life.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, now what we've been talking about here is the law of vibration. Because whatever vibration that you hold as space as your energy being will determine what you physically attract into your life. If you're vibrating at a low frequency, you're going to attract more and more things that are going to keep you vibrating at a low frequency. If you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you're going to attract more and more things into your life that are going to perpetuate this higher frequency.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay. So now you want to ask yourself this question. In order to apply what we've been talking about today, so you can raise the vibration, you can start effortlessly flowing, becoming liquid. In order to apply this, the question you ask is what's weighing you down in terms of the brain? What's weighing you down in terms of the heart? What emotions are trapped within that haven't been able to either be let go of, not been processed? And how are you able to start naturally tuning into these emotions? Because here's the thing. Personally, what I believe is that all of us are born not from the lower vibrations, but our hearts are pure.
Yeah.
And it's through life that we start to have impurities that come in. It's kind of like a glass of water. You've got impurities that have been poured into your water through life experiences. It's normal, it's fine. But your job now is to filter out those impurities, take them out somehow. You do that through things like forgiveness, things like starting to reconnect with your faith or whatever it is, right? So when you're thinking about it right now, like, what do you feel like is the number one thing that's like really weighing you down emotionally, mentally?
Number one, anger, anxiety, and self-disbelief. What else do I have? Well, mostly anger towards people that hurt me before. That's the worst part. I have a lot of anger.
Let me ask you one question then.
Yes.
If there's one person in your life who you feel like you have the most amount of stored anger within you towards that person, who's that one person that comes up for you right now?
Well, someone I knew before. Someone I used to know before. Someone that betrayed me. And a lot of things have happened for him. Well, I have to learn to forgive, move on.
Well, first of all,
holding a grudge right now.
Let me ask you to begin with. When did this happen?
A few months ago.
Okay. So you were betrayed, meaning that left you feeling wounded, a betrayal wound inside. You got hurt. And instead of healing the wound, what you've done is you put a bandage on it.
Yeah, like a girl holding a grudge. Yeah.
That's what holding a grudge is. You have a bandage on it, but the wound hasn't been healed. So if you pulled off the bandage, it would still hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how do you heal? Simple. You feel. You have to feel the hurt, you have to feel the pain, and that is the natural process for letting go. And it's evident by how, when you look at babies are born perfectly, perfect health, homeostasis. Whenever they experience pain, what do?
They let go.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Well, by crying out.
They cry out. straight away.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, I've felt some sort of pain. Let me bury that somewhere. No. As soon as they feel pain, the natural response is to feel it, express it, and let it go.
Mm.
And so the more that you don't express it, what you then do is you make a conscious choice. Sometimes it's unconscious because it's something that you've been doing repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't feel it, you're making a choice to do what we call not expressing your emotion, but to suppress your emotion.
Yeah, for the many times. Express myself. Yeah.
And the more that you suppress your emotions, the final thing that ends up becoming the effect of that is that the emotion becomes what we call a repressed emotion. And when you have a repressed emotion, that's a stored emotion that is now dictating your baseline vibration that you're operating from, which is the reason for why you're finding it so difficult to elevate to the higher levels.
That makes a lot of sense now. I'm stuck.
And when you have repressed emotions, that is what causes a person to become depressed.
That makes sense.
Pretty simple,
You become
right?
depressed afterwards, yeah.
But if you was able to process and actually express these emotions right from the get-go, you wouldn't be depressed. You'd be fine. You'd be healthy, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You've been able to identify the anger stored within from one of the moments of which you've been betrayed, right? And if you was to just simply close your eyes, take yourself back to that moment where you was betrayed, and if you was to feel right now how you wanted to feel, you wanted to truly feel that anger, I want you to just take a moment, put your hand on your heart, and feel those emotions. Take a breath in and close your eyes. You can imagine being in that position a few months ago where someone has actually betrayed you. How does it feel?
A lot of anger.
Yeah.
They want to put in your face.
Can you feel it? You can feel the anger come up?
I can feel the anger, yeah. I can feel the anger come up, yes. I can feel it.
That's good. That's good. Because the more that it's coming up, the more that you're able to heal, right? So you can let it come up. Feel that pain. Feel that pain. Because the thing is, that anger will have come because you'd have been hurt.
Yeah.
Right? From being betrayed. So now that you've felt all of this, okay, and you can even after the call, you can do it a little bit more. Give yourself permission to really feel and heal from this. The work next is looking at every single memory that you have of which someone caused you to feel those negative emotions and feelings, and being able to go into that darker space and now processing how it felt at every stage of your life and going all the way back to the first time that this happened. Because if you don't heal from this, you know what's going to happen?
It's going to be repressed.
You'll be depressed. You will become depressed, but also you'll create from the space of this anger that exists within, or the betrayal, the hurt, and you'll continue to create realities and experiences where people betray you and where you become angry. And you will blame them for the position that you're in when really it was you.
Yeah.
You created it just unconsciously.
Yes. Makes sense.
So if you want to stop that reality where you get angry and betrayed and whatever, and it's now the opposite where people are actually, people you can trust, people are not betraying you, but they're supporting you, people are actually, making you feel not anger, but making you feel love. If you want to have a reality where that becomes your new experience, you got to heal from the past things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
So the question for you now is, you've been able to think about what the most recent time was that you were betrayed and that you felt anger. But what's the first moment in your life that you can think of where you felt betrayed, you felt anger?
It's a long time ago. There's been a few cases that happened. I mean, that's a long story. I have to explain it in another call. More specifically.
Yeah. But you don't even have to explain it. What I'm saying to you is you just got to go to it. Go towards the emotion. Go towards where it is. Do it in your own time. Get the hand on the heart. Really start to close your eyes. Get back into that memory and allow yourself the space, time to heal. Because what you're essentially doing at that point is you're loving that part of you that wasn't loved in the moment. You're taking care of yourself. And so by giving and offering that space and that love to yourself from before, now you're going to be able to have that real heart-brain coherence and start operating not from the third dimension, the fourth dimension, but now it's going to be from the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And be able to just simply tune in to these realities and experiences where you can collapse the time frame, and now the results are gravitating towards you instead of you feeling like you're on this hamster wheel and have to run towards the cheese and it's just running further away from you. It's gonna help you to truly go from being frozen, stuck in procrastination, to just effortlessly flowing in terms of your action and activity, and you're becoming liquid, and all the cash flows pour in nice and easily. You'll be no longer looking at the bank account and being like, damn, why is there more month left than there is money? I don't understand. But you'll start looking at it like, wow, I have so much more cash flow than I have month to spend. I've got an overflow, I have abundance.
Yes. That's a state I need to reach.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to take long. It's all a choice now. It's your choice. You either choose to do the work, and it's probably not what you thought it was going to be. But you see how it's not just the physical leverage that's important. Yeah. I personally believe for yourself that physical leverage, it's not going to be much of an issue as much as you think it is going to be, right? Because remember, capital is just one form of physical leverage. There's all the other forms of physical leverage anyway. And there's no reason for why you can't have content, collaborations, or code. Is there any reason why you can't access those three?
There should be no reason I couldn't access those three. There should be no reason why I couldn't.
You can make content, can't you? You have a mobile phone.
Yeah.
You can collaborate with people. You got a mouth, don't you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
And you can use code. You got AI, right? You got ChatGPT.
Yes, I have it.
So you got all the physical leverage, more physical leverage in your hands than freaking most people, some of the wealthiest people from 100 years ago. You have more physical leverage. That's not the issue. The issue is the spiritual leverage right now, and being able to go to a high vibration through starting to let go of some of that emotional residue, elevating your frequency, and now becoming more like that wave, becoming more liquid, and starting to operate from that new space.
Yes.
Make sense?
All makes sense now.
Yeah. Are you willing to do that work?
Yes. I must do that work. I must do it. Or else I'm going to lose.
That's exactly right. You must do it. Anytime you give that excuse and you feel yourself saying, I can't, just take whatever's at the end of I can't and put it towards the I must. I can't do it because I've got no capital. I must do it because I've got no capital. I can't do it because I don't have any help. I must do it.
Yes.
So I can get some more help.
It's all clear now to me what I need to do.
Yeah. Has this call been helpful?
It's been very helpful.
Why is that?
It has.
Why has it been so helpful? What's been the most helpful thing for you?
So I've come to notice my problems, which is inside me, which makes me stop from becoming successful. I don't know why I haven't become successful yet. So I know what to do about it. I
Yeah.
have to work on it from now on. That's what's been so helpful.
Yeah. Now you know.
I was unconscious before.
Yeah. It's like you were focusing on the wrong issue. And if you are not clear on the problem, you're not clear on the solution.